Welcome to Beauty and the Gi, the podcast about Jiu-Jitsu and so much more. I'm Jen Eads, a blue belt, full of curiosity and questions, but less questions since we did a lot of Q&A in class this week, which was really helpful.
I'm AJ Klingerman, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and I am answering those questions.
Are you still obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu?
I am. You know, we've been talking about it a lot lately, more probably obsessed with the community, but I think that getting to train again will help me get a little more obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu again.
I can see where that would impact that.
Yeah, it's hard. I've basically only been teaching for the past couple months. I haven't really been rolling at all. And if I have, it's been like half a round and then I regret it because it hurts so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think getting back to training will reignite my obsession of Jiu-Jitsu.
How about our adventure to Tennessee this weekend?
Yes. We went down to Tennessee to Ray and Rachel's Tennessee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy to do a world's training camp. So I was very proud of myself. I didn't even dress out.
Yep.
Because I'm so tempted to do things.
Uh-huh.
Even at one point, I kind of like took my sling off to show something and everybody was like, whoa. And I was like, it's fine. I can use it. I'm just trying not to because it hurts a lot. It's like, it's okay. I can use it.
So for anybody new to the podcast, enlighten them on what's going on with you.
Basically, I had frozen shoulder. And apparently that can just happen randomly to women over 40. So
good times.
Just something else we need. Yeah. So I don't know why it was frozen. Obviously I still, I use it. It's not like I don't. I do jiu-jitsu. I was working out, like that kind of stuff. So, but it was frozen and I was doing a drill and we kind of moved funny. She tried to avoid landing on my face and instead landed on my shoulder up above my head. Mm-hmm. And my shoulder didn't go up above my head. So she kind of like rolled off and kind of took my arm with her. Nothing like any other time would have been fully fine.
Right.
But because I had the frozen shoulder, it tore. So I've been dealing with that for a while. And actually, by the time this podcast comes out, I will have had surgery.
Yes. And on the road to recovery.
Yes. So also, by the time this podcast comes out, we will have announced that I am not going to teach at Role Model Camp this year. Obviously, it was my intention to, but I will not be able to teach myself. We talked about me, saying the words and two bodies doing the movements. Mm-hmm. And the ego side of me wants to do that. Like I want to teach. I love teaching. So kind of that side really made me want to do it. But one of my values is community above all. And I thought that it would be better if they could learn from a person. The person that could actually do the moves. Because it's funny in class when I do that, I find everyone's looking at me, even though I'm not standing next to the people doing the moves. Right. So then I have to go stand behind them so that when they're doing it, they can see me talking.
Totally makes sense.
It's so funny. But yeah, so I contacted one of my friends, Wendy Kuhn, and she is going to come out and teach in my place for camp.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I am too.
Wendy's fantastic. I don't know that she believes that, but she also continuously, I'm pretty sure she double golded at, was it Gameplans recently? She is very impressive and love to interview her on a future episode.
Oh, yeah.
We can get her on here. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about I think we're going to have some good guests coming up.
Yeah. I think we've thought about 3 at least that we're going to try and get on here. So yeah. Be good.
Shaking things up a little bit.
Yeah. So I think I went really off the rails, but the important part was that I'm not using my arm right now and I'm about to have surgery on it. And so I didn't dress out for Rachel's World's Camp so that I would be a good girl.
Very good. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. So how did it go? You did participate.
I did participate. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've never been to a camp like that.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
Very different from Role Model in that we were so focused on, it was all about me.
Yeah.
And my game plan.
Exactly.
Which was great because at this point, I feel like if I never learned, if nobody ever showed me a brand new move again, and I could just focus on what I already know, I would be okay.
Yeah.
If I could really nail those fundamentals,
that
would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then my brain wouldn't get so confused by all the other things floating around. Like, try this. No, try me. No, stop talking to me and just let me choke somebody.
Let me do what I know.
Let me do the one thing. And having that focus on what is my game plan? What do I really want? I have so much clarity.
That's so good.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. Now, if I can just take that and also translate it off the mat.
Yes.
I think that's the magic of Rachel. You learn jiu-jitsu, but it's like jiu-jitsu for life.
Exactly. You're going to pick something else up. I will read, because I was taking notes the whole time. And so I have a quote from you. And you said, we started at 6 o'clock, right?
Oh, yeah.
Camp started at 6. You said, it's only 6:52 and it's already worth it.
Oh, because that was during the comp training class that Coach Ray was teaching.
Yes.
Amazing. Just the whole weekend was just, I'm so glad I did it. Now, when I was cussing Rachel Sunday morning during the warm-ups, at that point, I was maybe not as excited. But we had a very special guest at the session on Sunday, Grace, the golden retriever.
Yeah.
Who was basically like a therapy dog that just lifted it. I mean, she's not a therapy dog, but for us.
For you, yeah. Yeah.
You know, when you're doing warm-ups.
Yes.
And you have a dog that's just, raising the energy and the spirits of everyone. It was a highlight.
That's very helpful.
Get through warm-ups.
We missed Sunday because we had to come back for my goddaughter's dance recital. So we missed Sunday, but sounds like it was fun and brutal.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. And also during women's class, Rachel awarded her 4th black belt to Angelina.
Congratulations, Angelina.
Yes. Very excited for her.
Yeah.
Friday night in Ray's comp class, you each spent like 15 minutes working on your takedown, right? 15 minutes for you, 15 minutes for her.
That was eye-opening because I think within that 15 minutes, you're like, do I really like this takedown? Can I spend the next 15 minutes doing this takedown? It's like marriage. Do I really want to be married to this takedown?
Right.
But the great thing is like, it's pretty easy to make that determination, at least about your takedown in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But the focus on that and just over and over and over again and fixing all the little details.
Yeah.
And then that, who knew? I probably did that takedown more times in that 15 minutes than I've done like in live rounds.
Right.
Because it's like you go for it and then you get it or you don't, and then you move on with the round. And just that over and over again really, I think, helped cement.
Yeah. And
then also help point out what I was missing, because it was nice to have a training buddy that I don't train with all the time.
Yes.
That was reacting differently than, Jennifer or somebody else would that knows my game.
Exactly. That knows what you're going for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really important part of cross training is being able to, kind of get outside your gym to not just try your moves on the people that know what you're trying every time.
Going against somebody that doesn't necessarily know your game really opens up your eyes, I think, to weak spots in it.
Yes.
And
to whether
and
or not
it
would work.
Things. Yeah.
So
I loved it.
Yeah. I thought it was really awesome. We talked a lot about like the beginning of the round, right? Like they had you guys visualizing what it looked like walking into the building, what are you wearing? What, like kind of walking you through all of that. And I thought that was really cool. Like, I would have liked the full, like, because Rachel talked a little bit about that, but when Ray put you guys on your backs and had you close your eyes and like kind of like meditated you out.
Yeah.
I liked that, but I wish he would have walked through the visualization on that part. I think that could have been really cool.
Yeah. So it was like the end of yoga class at Shavasana, however you say that.
That sounded right.
I was like, at the end of comp training, this is the nicest.
Yeah.
Just chill out, settle down, get back to being a human again. It was so chill.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite 5 minutes of camp.
I was thinking that's something that I would like to kind of implement into the comp training classes because I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, I think so. I vote yes on that.
Vote yes. Also in talking about really all of your game plan, but that starting point, because that's what you worked a lot on Friday. I think it was Rachel that said the question of, it might have been Ray, who knows? The question of where you are going cannot be answered with "it depends."
Oh yeah, I've already put that into my life.
Excellent.
Off the mat.
Off the mat. Excellent. Basically, they were saying like, you can say, I'm going to go here or I'm going to go here. Not, well, if they grab this, if they do this, right? Like,
yeah.
So not, it depends on them, but just fully saying, this is what I'm going to do. If I can't do that, this is what I'm going to do. And just having it spoken more in that frame.
Yeah. It's nice if it's either this or that.
And it's not, well, if they grab here, I'm going to do this. Or if they step this way, I'm going to do this. No, you are forcing them into your funnel.
Yes.
So you are putting them where you want them so that you can do your pull or takedown.
Yeah. Another thing that I got out of this was really focusing on what is my plan and what do I want rather than responding to what they're doing.
And we've talked about that before, you know, like if we look at spots. So in first place, that means, and this isn't awards, this is, you know, at the top of the list, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
Then second is they're doing their thing. But if instead you're reacting to them doing their thing, then you're in like third, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you're 2 steps behind.
Right.
It's always better to play a more offensive game like that.
I think so.
Be assertive.
Yes.
Get what you want.
On and off the mat.
That's right.
That's our on and off the mat tip for the week. I like it when they magically show up.
Yes. Also, I wrote down, and you know, I'm sure we've talked about this, but Ray said, you're never going to be as prepared as you want to be. Just get out there and send it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, never. I've had lots of people go, well, I'm not going to compete until I'm 100%. You're never going to be 100%.
No.
Ever. You can't finish a training camp without something being a little tweaked or hurting a little, or, you know, like, you're never going to be 100%.
I really liked focusing on the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's always the most unknown. And just drilling that over and over again, it was like, oh, but now I know exactly what I want to happen in the first 30 seconds. And if it doesn't, then this is what I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And just having that backup plan rather than, well, I'm going to wait and just see what they do. Yeah. And then I'll wing it, figure it out.
Figure it out as I go.
And I never do.
Exactly.
I figure out that I'm on my back getting submitted, and that's about as far as it goes. I feel better about this new game plan.
Right? It's so funny that this like basically came right after the last podcast where we were talking about takedowns and guard pulls and stuff like that. I think it was like such good timing to go into this camp where you really did focus on what happens in those first 30 seconds.
I loved it.
Yeah. It was perfect timing.
It was fun to come back and actually try to execute on the things that we worked on, even though failed miserably.
Well,
but at least I tried them and I was so clear on what I wanted.
Yeah.
Now I have concrete things to focus on to fix so that I can get what I want so that I don't have to play the reaction game.
Yeah. They also talked a lot about recording your rounds and your drills, which is something I've been pounding into everyone's heads for several months now. The only people that tend to record, this is really funny, for the most part, the people that tend to record are from our school were all the ones that were at camp. Like that's pretty accurate. You know, like you and Matt and Amanda and Risser, like you're all going to record your rounds. Salma usually does a good job of that, but that's probably pretty much everyone that does it on a decent basis. But Ray was like, you're your own worst critic. So be your critic, right? Like watch it back. And that's probably not how I would put it, only because like, you know, I'm sunshine and rainbows. But I do think being able to evaluate, I was trying to do this, but now I see their leg was here and I couldn't have gotten that. So like going through it objectively and like, how can I do better? And what did I do really well? Because like you want to double down on the things you did well. So being able to recognize those things is really good.
It helps me not make up the terrible story in my head that my jujitsu, like all of it's just trash.
Yeah.
Like there might just be one or two things that are total trash and then we can fix that.
Exactly.
And then it's less trashy.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I mean, and I do think it can really help. Plus, like sometimes you hit something crazy and you're like, how did we get there? How did I hit that? And having the video to go back and be like, oh, you can break it down and like, I could implement this into my game plan. You know, something like that, I think would be really good. Yeah.
And it was great until the one time I forgot to press record.
Yeah.
I was killing it too.
I know.
Totally killing it.
So silly. Sometimes I like to take the students' phones while they're recording and like commentate in the background.
I love that.
Because I can give you some special, you know, extra little tips for it. So I think that's kind of fun to do. So if you have a coach or higher rank that's willing to do that during your roles, I'm not coaching Jen through the round. I'm just talking quietly into her phone.
The next time I want you to commentate it like the guys from Dodgeball.
I better rewatch Dodgeball. I'd be more likely to commentate it like the people from Pitch Perfect.
That would be
start
amazing.
out like in this moment you wish we were doing video.
Right? So true.
Another thing they talked about, and I think they just touched on it, but then I start my brain dump, you know? But something else I have in my notes here is like wanting to repeat to everyone that there are no wasted roles. If there is, it's your fault, right? Like you have the ability to have a good round with basically anyone. If you're rolling with a lower belt, take it as an opportunity not to coach. And this is something that people have like asked us to talk about, you know, like people coaching you in the middle of the round. So do not coach during this round, but work on stuff that you aren't good at. Don't always grab the easy rounds and don't run away from the hard rolls. Also grab the new person.
Yeah.
Grab the new person. You were that person once too. I think most everyone is afraid to ask someone to roll. And constantly I'll be like, hey, are you rolling? And they'll be like, oh, if anybody wants to, right? Like, so if you notice somebody sitting on the wall, you know, standing on the wall, anything like that, like just ask, are you rolling? That way they don't have to have the moment of like, I don't want to turn you down, you know, like I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but some are really fine at it, you know, like, which is great. That's what I want. I want them to be able to be like, I'm not rolling right now.
Yeah.
But ask them, try and engage them, try and get the new person out rolling with you.
It's a good goal.
And don't shy away from the hard rounds. Some of our best guys will be sitting out and I'll be like, hey, someone grab that person. I know you're afraid of them because they look big and strong, but the higher rank probably means they're able to moderate best.
I have nothing to add to that.
Well, also for you do morning classes. So you pretty much are the high rank.
Sometimes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we'll get a purple belt in on occasion or wrister in on occasion, but like in general, you are about the high rank in that room.
Please come to 6 a.m.
I was like, how does that feel?
It's kind of weird.
I get that.
Kind of weird. Something else that I really liked was how we worked on focusing on just different positions for a while. So, okay, you're in, you know, whatever your guard is. And then we really focused on that. Like, what submission do you want? Or what pass do you want? And again, just drill. Drill. That was one of my big takeaways, was just focus, drill more.
Yes.
One of the things that Coach Ray talked about was, you know, if you don't want to do a round, like you don't have to just do a round. Take that time, grab your buddy and go drill for that 5 minutes instead of always feeling like you've got to do a round.
Yeah. It's so funny because I basically had given that speech last Monday night in class that like, try and get out there still. Drill or, you know, learn to moderate around, you know, hold somebody in your close guard, whatever that looks like. But unless, you know, you really need it, try not to take a round off. Like there's nothing that will help your cardio for jujitsu like jujitsu.
True.
So do more of it.
It's like when my wife tells me something and she's like, I just said, but you know, if you told me something.
Exactly.
Then it's like, oh, she's so smart.
She's so
and
smart.
She said to do this. And Beth is like, really? Did I not just tell you? Did we not just have this conversation? But I think when you're in a different environment.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes you just need to hear the message. Like for me, I'm very hard-headed, so it's got to be pounded into my head.
Yeah.
And sometimes just the way somebody delivers that message, you're like, oh, now I get it.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the cool things about hearing different instructors. Like that's why I'm so excited for base camp.
Yeah.
With different instructors because, and even with Risser, like I'm not in night class.
Right.
So
you don't get to learn from her enough either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camp. So yeah, I think just different delivery and I think sometimes how we show up with our willingness to be receptive and open to hearing the message.
And sometimes for me, that speech comes at the end of class when everybody's already dying. Mm-hmm. And so it's really hard to pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
I always try to make them short and sweet. One of my old coaches would like end up letting us out like 15, 20 minutes early or late because he just kept talking. That was always the worst. Like you've got to pee, you're ready, like trying to stand there, like wrap this up. So I always try to keep my speeches very brief, but sometimes I do think it's hard to pay attention to that when you're sucking air.
True.
In talking about the visualization, Rachel also was talking about having a little like self-chant, some affirmations basically before you step out on the mat. And I think she said hers are, I'll fight hard, I'll win, I'll be world champion or pan champion or whatever that is. And I really like that. Last week I shared a video, I think just on my storyline, that was a bunch of women like getting ready to do their thing. And you could see the words that they were saying.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'll try and find it and repost it, but it was really good. And I just was like, we talk about affirmations a little here and there, but to hear someone like Rachel, who was number 1 in the world last year, gi and no gi, that she's saying those things before she steps on the mat. I'm like, that's good. We should be doing that.
Yeah. It's working for her. Maybe it could work for me.
Exactly.
Something else that I thought was so obvious, and I was like, why have I not ever done this before? She gave us homework to either read rules from IBJJF or watch videos. They have a great YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And they really walk you through the rules and give you examples.
Yeah.
Such an obvious thing. Why have I not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah. I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
To read that or watch those.
It just never occurred to me.
I actually encouraged people last night to do both because I think there's some nuances in each one that maybe reading it, you'll be like, I don't get what that means. And then you see the video or in the videos, they may skip a part or something that they typed out. So they don't match up identical. And your understanding might not match up identical. Yeah. So if you can, I highly recommend you do both, read it and watch the videos. Otherwise, choose your own adventure.
Well, and I think I've just always felt like, well, if there's something I need to know, my coach will tell me.
Yeah.
But if your coach is overcoaching somebody else, or you don't have access to them, then you should know the rules. I think I was like, I was kind of lazy about that. It just never occurred to me to take responsibility, which was something else that Rachel talked about, was taking responsibility for your training.
Yeah.
I think knowing what you need and then going and finding that. So if it's not your coach that can, show you the takedowns or you want to do something differently, then it's your responsibility to figure out where to get that.
Yeah. Being kind of in charge of your own destiny in jiu-jitsu. Not like your promotions or something like that, but just, the things you want to work on, the things you want to learn. I don't know how most schools run, but I know, we run with a curriculum. So you're going to touch on things throughout the year, but if you want to focus, maybe you really liked leg attack month and you're like, I'd like to dive deeper into leg attacks, then do.
Or I want more judo takedowns.
Exactly.
Go do some judo.
Yeah.
Again, with the caveat of make sure you learn it from somebody that knows jiu-jitsu too.
Exactly.
But you can go listen to our previous episode on that.
Well, yeah, I think camp went great.
I loved it. Do you know what my biggest clarity was?
You can tell everyone because Rachel already told me.
I'm not surprised.
She basically called me immediately. She's like, I'm sorry, that wasn't what I was like, go ahead.
I don't want to do Master Worlds. And I've been so on the fence, like, oh, I should do it. And I was like, and granted, this was Sunday after the last session and warm-ups, but definitely during warm-ups, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing this. But even now that I've gotten some sleep and my body does not ache, I'm like, I don't want to work that hard. And I'm okay. I feel very good. And it's not that I'm lazy.
Right.
I see what it takes. Mm-hmm. The women that have that level of commitment to do that and to do that for the next however many weeks it is going into camp.
Yeah.
Or however many weeks it is going into Master Worlds. That's not for me.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, it's such a relief. Like I'm okay. There are things that I can be good at that are not jiu-jitsu, and I know what I'm coming to jiu-jitsu for and what I want out of it. Mm-hmm. And clarity is such a gift.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, that was not my intention for this camp. Jen came up to me and she was just like, well, this was eye-opening. And I, obviously can't do much right now, but feel the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. Like it's all that work that you put in that's what I want.
Yeah.
One of our students, I was talking to a couple of them, Kelly and Andrea, a couple nights ago, and just like we were talking about doing no-gi worlds because we want that work to get ready for it.
Yeah.
Like for us, and this isn't for everyone, but for us, without the competition, you just can feel stale, mm-hmm. Cause then you're not focusing your training, and that's fine. Like some people just come in to like have an activity and have friends, and that's great. For me, I want to work towards a goal, mm-hmm. and that goal just is competition. Like once I get there, the work's done. Now let's just go have fun.
Yeah. So clarity was my big takeaway.
So funny. It's great.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that I would never go back to another competition training camp.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I got so much out of it because it's going to make just my daily jiu-jitsu better. It's going to make me a better training partner for my teammates that are training to go compete. So I got so much out of it. Plus the clarity that I don't want to do it. Which is fine.
That's fine. So I think some of our takeaways are, if you get the opportunity to go to a camp in general, mm-hmm. do it, right? Yeah. Whether it's a World's training camp or role model camp or, any of the like little retreats, our white belt camp, anything like that. Yeah. It's a really good opportunity to learn things, work on your things, and mm-hmm. meet new people, expand your community.
Yeah.
And get to try things on people that are different than your gym, that know your game plan.
Yeah. I met great people. Sandy, whose grips are a nightmare, and so was her closed guard. Like, my guards, I can't get out of here.
I loved Sandy. It was funny because like we were by the locker rooms and I was talking, who knows what I was saying, but she like snapped her head and she was like, "Are you AJ?" And I was like, she voice recognized me. That was so fun.
You're famous.
And so then I made sure that like you got to meet her as well. And she was so excited to meet you and Risser. And like, I loved her. She was great.
And Leanne was my buddy for most of the weekend, which was awesome. So there were so many cool people. It was so much fun. So I encourage you, even if you don't want to compete, go to camp.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
If you have not subscribed to the podcast already, you can subscribe in YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, because we're going to have some really good interviews coming up. So you don't want to miss those.
Absolutely.
And we love to hear from you. If you have questions or suggestions for topics, DM us on Instagram. We're hanging out there at Beauty in the Gi Podcast. And I'm also there at Brassy Broad Jen.
And I'm AJ Klingerman everywhere you go, except TikTok, where I'm roll_model.
All right, friends, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the mat. Beauty in the Gi is a production of the Brassy Broadcasting Company.
And brought to you by Role Model Grappling.
Yay.